Hello and welcome to round 7 of the Penrite ProMX Championship presented by AMX Superstores. We are just over an hour's drive southwest of Brisbane at Queensland Moto Park, a venue bursting with moto action on multiple tracks suitable for everyone from kids on peewees to elite level races such as those competing this weekend as we get to the pointy end of our 2022 season and things are getting spicy. Hi, I'm Kate Peck and with me is 11-time national motocross champion Lee Hogan. Hogs, haven't the moto weather god blessed us with some decent conditions today?
They sure have. If you had been here yesterday, you would have seen grey skies all day and it rained for the entire day. So to see what we've got here and the track that we're presented with, this is just fantastic.
Now, I think the biggest news that we need to announce is our winner, our very first championship winner for the 2022 ProMX. Incredible effort by HRC's Wilson Todd. It's been a masterclass all season long.
Well, he's performing double duties today. He's racing in the Mx1 category, which we're just about to see. However, there was a word that he wasn't going to line up in the Mx2 category and leave it up to Reese Budd to try to take it all the way down to the wire. Thankfully for us, he came out, he got the job done. Fantastic job and congratulations to Wilson Todd on his championship.
Yeah, now let's talk about MX1, the championship title battle there. CDR Yamaha Monster Energy's Aaron Tanti comes into the weekend with a 29-point lead, which is very healthy, but he's being ferociously chased by HRC's Dean Ferris, who's coming off the back of a double victory from Coffs Harbour. So taking all of these things into account, perhaps a few curveballs from Honda, points, momentum, performance, can Dean Ferris catch Aaron Tanti for this championship fight?
Well, I tell you what, 29 points, isn't it a nice handy little gap? I wish I had 29 points going into a championship points chase finish. I must say, I think it's going to be points maintenance for Tanti. If he can leave here and go perhaps 1-2 or 2-1, even if Ferris gets the win on the day and he comes out equal on points, he's not going to care. He just wants to maintain those points. So it's a bit of a watch this space kind of thing, but it's going to be very hard to reel him in the championship points chase. When it comes to Dean Ferris though, you're right. He's coming off the back of some serious momentum and Honda are throwing all of their cards in the deck at the moment. They've pulled out Wilson Todd, just wrapped up his championship, fastest in qualifying, winner of pole shootout. He's showing everyone how to ride a 450 at the moment, so he's going to be there in the mix. And also, let's not forget about the return of Kyle Webster. So are these two Honda riders going to get in the mix as far as points-wise go? That's what Honda's hoping for, I can promise you.
Well, let's take a look at the Mx1 Championship standings because, as you mentioned, both our P1 is Aaron Tanti, P2 Dean Ferris, but sitting on equal points, 220 points, is Todd Waters and Brett Metcalf. And then in P5 is Kurt Gibbs from KTM. So there's still a lot to unfold.
Well, there certainly is, and the old boys, the old dogs, they've been right there in the mix doing themselves proud this season. However, they've got to step up this last couple of rounds. I know we're going to see your Ferris and your Todd Waters love Coolum at the final round. What are they going to come up with us for today, though? They need to really do something.
All right, well, let's take a look at the Queensland Moto Park track ahead with yourself and expert commentator Danny Ham.
Welcome to this week's Michelin track preview at round 7 here at QMP, and once again we're presented with some wet weather leading into it on the Saturday. Now that's not a bad thing because the ground leading into this round was quite dry, but you don't have to go down too far before you start to find some really good soil. Straight off the bat, the riders are going to be presented straight up with a very, very long start straight. Now, if the riders don't get themselves out to a really good jump early on in this one, they're going to be funneled towards the back of the pack and they're going to have a lot of trouble making their way through. Bit of an off-camber first turn. It's actually a two-stage turn. As we walk this way a little bit more, you'll see the second part of the corner just in behind me here actually has the second apex. So it's going to present some different lines going into it before they move into the second turn, which funnels down again to a really tight left. Now this is going to present quite an even start. Now I feel this is going to give them a pretty even start around here. If you get stuck on the inside or the outside, you're going to have them options in the second turn to make some new lines, some passes early on in the race. Lee?
We're standing up here in the most elevated part of the QMP circuit, and doesn't it look brilliant from up here? If you have a little bit of a look over my right shoulder, you can see just how much work's been put into the facility here to get it up to national level. Now, bearing in mind, this place is usually set as a ride park where the average punter can come and ride with their friends on the weekend. So to get it to this state is an amazing job. It looks fantastic. There's a lot of key parts to this track. It's got lots of airtime with some big jumps. It's got lots of elevation. It's got lots of passing opportunities and of course, really good soil. Now, speaking about passing opportunities, right here, as we can see, we've approached this steep hill up to the highest point, tipping it into a right-hander, and this is going to be our last nice passing opportunity before we get to that checkered flag. You don't need to be Einstein to figure out we've got rain coming out of the sky, we've got platform shoes on here, but history has shown us throughout the series that what we see on Saturday isn't always the case on Sunday, so watch this space. Well, that's your track preview, thanks to Michelin. Let's take a quick look at the Thor MX1 lineup. Moto 1, Wilson Todd at the top of the list. Yes, you are reading correctly. Our MX2 recently crowned champion was fastest in qualifying, fastest in the pole shootout. Aaron Tanti, Kirk Gibbs, Kyle Webster, Hamish Harwood and Dean Ferris, our top 6.
Metcalf, Waters, Melross and Evans is your top 10. Now, the track has evolved so much since practice. We saw it early on in the day, it was quite wet. The soil itself right now is actually perfect. They can find, discover and create lines for this very first part of the race, which could lead to some great passes later on in the race as we get set for the start. Moto number 1, who's going to launch out first? The important start as they rip from the center.
Great start from Ferris. 111.
And 96.
Oh, Kyle Webster, welcome back to the national circuit. Who's up the inside? That looks like Tanti is going into the middle there. All the big hitters are right up there. Let's try to find our number 20 rider of Wilson Todd if we can.
He was in 4th place, went very wide. That was Dylan Woods that went down. You have a look towards the back. You can see where Wilson Todd was just a moment ago. So it's Ferris, Tanti, Webster. Melross has moved up a couple. Actually, Wilson Todd has disappeared a couple. There he is, just at the bottom left of screen. So he's got some work.
Shuffled out the back ever so slightly. Todd Waters trying to make his way around the outside there. As we take a look down, it continues to be Dean Ferris at the head of the pack, and of course Aaron Tanti back there in 2nd place. These are our 2 big dogs, our 2 key players that we need to watch closely.
This is great to see exactly what Ferris needed to do. They've done some work just there on that downhill through the G-out part. It looks like the machines have been out there. Now, we've seen this before, Lee. We saw it the last round. Dean Ferris out to a quick early lead. Tanti right onto his back wheel and makes a pass nice and early. The level of speed out of these guys on the opening laps, the intensity, it's been something on the next level over the last couple of rounds, and I think we're seeing it again right now.
Well, you're exactly right. It's Aaron Tanti that's usually one in the opening laps who has blistering pace and makes his way past Dean Ferris. At the moment, it looks like Ferris is ready for that. It's almost like he's prepared for these opening laps of Tanti. Does he have something for the raw speed of Aaron Tanti? Our 100% whole shot goes to Dean Ferris for the umpteenth time this year.
Now they've done a little bit of work here. Also, you can see this part of the track is all lumpy. The back end dancing all over the place for Tanti as they do it their first lap. Tanti dips down that visor to make sure he keeps that vision nice and clear. There is Webster, Waters in behind them. And then we see Melross, that was Wilson Todd up the inside of Metcalf. So they're just sorting out their opening laps, trying to figure out the lines, and we will see how this evolves from here. That is, Hamish Harwood. They're also on the 153 in front of Metcalf.
Yeah, for those of you wondering who Hamish Harwood is,
Tanti off the track.
Big mistake from Tanti, and straight away there we have the first of the Honda riders to slot in between those two. Can Tanti get back up the inside? Nice little passing move there from the CDR Yamaha Monster Energy rider.
Okay, right now, very important. Tanti needs to take a breath. He's consolidated that 2nd place again. Exactly what he needed to do. He needs to take a breath and make sure that we don't have any more mistakes. Have a look at the replay. The blue bike down the bottom here dives to the inside.
Trying for a pass.
Wow.
And that was desperate, wasn't it?
He dove in there, didn't he?
And just where Angels fear to tread. Beautiful line there and technique from Wilson Todd through that Pirelli right-hand turn. On screen at the moment, Kyle Webster is about to come under siege. It's a little bit of pressure there from Todd Waters, who is in fine form at the moment. You would have to think the longer the race goes on, Kyle Webster needs to keep reminding himself he's so fit. This guy trains extremely hard, quite possibly one of the fittest on the track, but there is nothing quite like race fitness, is there, Danny?
Yeah, time off the bike, away from the races, it will bite you every time, thinking that you can come straight back into it. And we're seeing it right now. This is the charge. We see it quite often that Waters will sit back there and then, out of nowhere, he will put on a big charge and try and make that pass nice and early. Both riders into the same rut here, turning onto the start straight past the mechanics area. Bit of smoke out the side of Waters' bike just there. Did you see that?
Yeah, looked ever so slightly like a little bit as he clears his vision. We'll just wait. We'll see if we see any more of that. It could have been a little bit of water popping up onto the bike. Just not quite sure, but we'll watch that and see what happens. But I want to ask you, Danny, as we look now, have a look at the battle going on here. I want you to get inside the headspace of Aaron Tanti. He's got a 29-point lead in the championship. He is all over the back of Dean Ferris at the moment. What does he do? Does he settle in here and put pressure on, maybe hope for a mistake, or does he risk making the pass and try to pull away from the Honda rider?
There's the mistake right there.
There's one.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think right now he's in the prime position. He's got a championship to think about, of course, but right now if he can just stay there, pepper the back end of Ferris, keep that pressure on him. Tanti doesn't have to do anything out of the ordinary. He just needs to ride around. If the opportunity presents later in the race, for sure, go for it. But don't push it and put yourself into a position where it may bring you unstuck. He has to conserve his points. And right now, he's losing 3 points. Oh, Melross has gone down.
Melross has gone down in a big way. Now, let's see what he's done. He's walking off, not even going towards the bike. So he has rattled himself. Oh, that's as close as you would ever want to hope to going down. He has made multiple mistakes in this early stage and just sets off straight after Dean Ferris like nothing happened.
This is not going to hurt him being back there in second place.
No.
3 points is nothing in the big picture. So if he continues to run there and do it at a safe, consistent, comfortable pace, then that is a great way to consolidate your championship moving forward. You never know what's going to happen in the next races. He may be able to just get up there. Ferris may have an issue. It may present itself straight away. That bike is bent.
Yeah, he's gone down in a big way now. Look, he doesn't seem to be too badly injured, but he has certainly rattled himself a little bit. Now, once again, Tanti is off on a mission. Now, when I asked you about getting into the mindset of Aaron Tanti, I think it comes back to the only way that you're going to force a mistake from Dean Ferris is to sit right on him. If you let him just ride around by himself, he's not the kind of rider that's going to have a mistake for no reason whatsoever. He'll ride around like it's a practice session all day long. You need to keep that track pressure on Ferris if you want to force a mistake, and we've seen at Gilman in both motos that it can unravel for the Honda rider, but if you let him stay at the head of the pack, he'll do this all day long.
Watch Tanti just here, completely misses the start of that rut. Very lucky not to dive that front wheel in and go over the bars. So that was a close moment.
Well, he was on the front brake exceptionally hard, but he had the presence of mind as he went over. If he had kept that front brake on, he was taking a step through the bars.
Tanti is doing everything he can. He's dropped back a couple of times. He is rebounded straight away, kept that pressure applied to the Honda rider as they drop down to this massive uphill, the Penrite Hill, up and over into this Pirelli turn.
All right, well, time for a quick little break here. We are halfway through MX1 Moto 1. Don't go anywhere. Plenty more action still to come.
It is still Ferris that controls this one, but I like the way Tanti is able to move around on the track and look for these new lines. He's not restricted to just that one deep rut. Although it might be the best option sometimes, it's good to have those other options out there as well, and that's exactly what we're seeing with Aaron Tanti at the moment, looking for some new stuff. Again,
nice.
Right to the inside.
Yeah, it's really quite noticeable, the different lines that they're taking, particularly on that back part of the circuit. When they come up to the highest point of the track and they tip it into the right-hander, Ferris just goes searching. How is him leaning on that lapped rider there? The confidence in his own line selection, it's almost like people are moving out of their way for him. It's when you're in the zone, it's such a good feeling.
This is going to be the part that hurts TNT once again with the lapped riders. Can he clear? There was at least 3 of them right there. Now he's stuck behind all of them.
Wow, that was just wrong place at the wrong time, and that has cost him so much time.
Massive amounts of time right there. That almost is a clincher for Ferris to close this one out. There's still 5 minutes, there's still heaps to go. But moments like that is going to put so much pressure on Tanti and take so much pressure off Ferris. He can now ride the race he wants without the fear of Tanti being there, putting that pressure on.
Well, there's sometimes there's races where you feel like things are going for you, where you feel like riders almost open up a gap on purpose to let you through, where of course that's not the case. There's other times where things go against you and you feel like you're fighting an uphill battle. For Tanti, all of these things, they should have been falling into his place, being the second place rider here. Everything that could have gone wrong, other than a crash, has gone wrong for him here, but he's still in there. He hasn't given up. Let's watch how this next half a lap plays through, because we've still got 5 minutes on the clock, plus a lap, still plenty of time.
To the right, back to the left. Again, this part of the track, Ferris has looked very comfortable in. Still searching those outside ruts. Right now, he can take a breath, work his way towards the end of this moto. This is the perfect way to try and challenge this championship and take it as far towards the very final moto of the series.
Well, we've spoken about it before, Danny. It really is out of Dean Ferris's hands, isn't it? It's almost the best position to be in, because all he can do is go out and win the next 4 races. It doesn't really matter what happens behind him. All he can do is win the races and let the cards fall the way that they may. Tanti is the one that needs to do the maths, needs to control the points, but the championship's his for the losing, that's for sure.
There is Metcalf on screen. He is just putting another lap down on Riders. Waters back there behind him. Waters was in front of Metcalf moments ago, if I'm correct.
Yes.
So there's a pass being made, whether it's through a mistake or that Metcalf is just doing his usual end of race diesel dog thing and getting himself up into that position. We have 3.5 minutes left in this one. Waters muscling his way through there. Was that Wilson Todd just behind Waters there?
It looked to be. I didn't quite get a close enough look, so we'll try to bring you guys up to speed with running order as we see it. But there we see Kyle Webster.
No,
we see
Hamish.
Is that Harwood? It is. That's Harwood all over the back of Todd Waters. So I believe something may have gone wrong with Todd Waters rather than Brent Metcalf has made his way up through the pack.
Yeah, so a small mistake somewhere there has put him back a little bit. There is Kyle Webster on screen again, as we said, returning to racing. Oh, and a moment over the top. Just didn't quite tip in quite hard enough, and he climbed up over the top of that rut and almost went down.
Kirk Gibbs on the factory KTM coming through there at the moment as we exit the easy lift corner. Have a look at the line choices through here. 4 or 5 ruts to choose from, and of course a berm all the way around the outside. Kyle Webster, and we've got a lapped rider in between himself and Kirk Gibbs. So some big names here in the mix, that's for sure.
Gibbs is moving up a little bit to try and gain a couple more places. And this is a good ride for Webster. Look, he started up in front of these guys, but he's been off the bike for so long. And as we said, he hasn't been on the bike very long leading into this one. Race fitness is a huge part of it. And to be just out there running at these paces is very, very impressive.
So here we see the pressure from Gibbs. He's behind Kyle Webster, who's going to try to force the issue here, try to make a pass. Unfortunately for Gibbs, both lines came together there, so good intentions, but you know, neither of these 2 riders are blatantly rude riders. Both very respectful out there on the track. There's a difference between aggressive and rude, that's for sure.
Around onto the start straight again. Oh, 2 times there. It was like he found neutral.
Back-to-back neutrals, for sure.
Yeah. So Gibbs, after all that work, getting right onto the back wheel to challenge for that place, has made those small mistakes coming out of the turn, possibly missing gears twice, and that has dropped him back again, giving some breathing room to this guy on screen. Kyle Webster, the 96 machine. There's Harwood just coming through in front of Wilson Todd right there in screen. He is up and over this step-up jump into a very dark part of the track. There is Gibbs as well. Still working on the back wheel of the rider in front of him, of Webster, trying to get up there and make that pass. This is a good ride, though, by Harwood. Really impressed. Very impressive ride from the Kiwi, that's for sure. 47 seconds left on the clock here for Thor, MX1 Moto #1. Kyle Webster on the Honda HRC machine. What a return to racing it has been for him after a devastating foot injury. But our race leader at the moment, Honda HRC rider, 111, Dean Ferris. He is coming off back-to-back wins the last round at Coffs Harbour, and he has stretched the gap out now over Aaron Tanti, the CDR Yamaha Monster Energy rider. Looks to have perhaps settled, just gone, hey, made a couple too many mistakes, let's take second place points. If he can somehow turn it around for the final moto and get a win, they will leave here on equal points, provided Ferris can log himself as second place. So there comes a time where you just need to be smart, you need to take those points, you need to think about the big picture. There was 15 seconds on the clock as they went across the line that time. So this is their second last lap right now. And you're right, I believe that he's being a smart rider. He's being a championship rider at the moment, thinking about collecting those points and making sure that he comes away with the result that's going to help secure that position when we get towards the very last moto of the year. Again, we have the opportunity, 2 more races, or second moto split in 2, for him to go up there and reclaim those points. Second place is always as good as a first on a day. And right now, there is no catching this guy in Moto #1. And as you mentioned through the whole shootout lead, Dean Ferris wasn't that fast. No. And again, we said it, he's done this before. He's 7th or 8th, I believe. 7th or 8th fastest on track, but when it comes time, at race time, things turn around. He knows how to put it together. It's a racer's brain. It's a rare quality, a rare breed that can do that. A lot of people need to feed off the confidence of a good qualifying time to go, hey, I should be up near the pointy end of the pack. Yeah, like I said, it's such a rare thing to be able to not qualify very well, but to line up on the start and go, not only am I going to get a whole shot, but I'm going to have enough track speed to just wheel away from everyone. That gap has been maintained the entire race, of course. A few lapped riders just jumping in the road of this great battle that was developing as our riders head towards this final turn. And they will receive the last lap board around. This time, Aaron Tanti bounces out of that rut, blasts the throttle all the way up to that finish line. He sits probably around about 3 seconds, 4 seconds at a guess, in behind, maybe even 5 seconds in behind Ferris, as he takes his final glance at the pit boards, going past the mechanics area, and I'm sure he is feeling pretty confident right now. It's been a hard-charging, fighting Aaron Tanti in that first half of the race that, you know, he came out, he didn't want to be seen by everyone as, hey, I'm settling for the championship here. He was prepared to make a couple of mistakes, almost put himself on the ground in order to try to get up ahead of Ferris. It wasn't to be, it's that around half race distance where he decided, you know what, I just need to be smart here. Let's ride this thing home. We'll take second place points. We'll come out and we'll fight for it in the last moto. But it's all about this guy at the moment, Honda HRC rider, Dean Ferris, with the number 111 on that Honda machine. And he has not put a foot wrong. He's got, once again, an amazing whole shot. How many good starts has this guy got this year? They said, hey, he can start on the graded starts. Well, he's come out here in the dirt starts once again, had a couple of bike lengths by the time he was halfway down that start straight. So what an amazing 25 minutes plus a lap Dean Ferris has strung together here. I'm noticing too that he is searching around for some new lines. Yep, new lines in this very last couple of laps, trying to figure out something that's maybe a bit smoother, a bit easier to get around as he works his way down towards this tabletop before dropping into the step up as well. He has done everything right. He has really put it to this championship. He is going to try and take it all the way to the very final moto. He has stamped his authority on that right now. Whether he can do it to get to the championship is yet to be written, but he is certainly going to put his best foot forward and try and make that happen. Well, he is what they call in the zone as he comes up and over the finish line tabletop. Nice one-hander there, and he will be all smiles inside that helmet, let me tell you. All he can do is win every race here on out, and he has ticked off
One right there, tick the box, Dean Ferris. Aaron Tanti comes through in second place, and what a ride from Brett Metcalf to come through in a very impressive third place. Todd Waters in fourth, not too far back.
As the rest of the riders come through there, I think it was Wilson Todd just coming over, completing his first of the MX1 races. Oh, there's a rider. Oh, that's Harwood. He's gone down over these last couple of laps. By the looks of it, he's got no peak. Is that correct?
Yeah, front number plate hanging off the side of that bike. He's
just in front of Gibbs too. What a shame after such a brilliant ride early on in this one. Well, early, most of that race was up there. So
well, he got a great start. He was right there in the mix. Made a couple of good passes on some big names, but it's all about this guy. What a fantastic ride from the 111 machine.
And in P1 from HRC, Dean Ferris, congratulations. That whole shot was unbelievable and a really strong, dominant performance.
Yeah, I knew the start was going to be key here today, so I nailed that. And then that was the first moto all year that I've actually led. You know, when I got the whole shot, I actually led it and held the lead. So that was, I ticked that box. That was really cool. There was a bit of pressure there from Aaron, but then I got through the lappers really well, and I think I started dropping my lap time. So pulled out a bit of a gap, and then I just maintained it from there. So happy days. Really stoked for my bike. Really stoked the team HRC, having a really good time, and. You know, it's getting late in my career, so I'm just going to enjoy every moment.
Totally. Okay, good luck for the next moto.
As we look at the Thor MX1 lineup for this one, moto number 2, Wilson Todd, of course, who's one of our fastest guys out there. Aaron Tanti, Kirk Gibbs, Kyle Webster, Hamish Harwood, who we saw such a good ride out of early on in that race.
Yeah, let's hope he can finish off number 2. Lockie Latimer, of course, and we are ready for the drop of the gate. Thor MX1, moto number 2. Who is going to get the start? Ferris! We have had riders go down, left, right, and centre. Who is that? Well, I can see Tanti there. He hasn't gone down. He's back in about 7th place. And then more riders down on the outside.
Wilson Todd.
Oh, it is all happening. Wilson Todd has been collected by, I believe, one of the Latimer boys. I think that may be. Let's hope none of the key players have gone down.
A terrible start that has been. You're right, it was. Ferris was up the lead there. Is Tanti coming through? There is Metcalf, we see as well.
There's Kyle Webster has made it through okay. Number 69.
Look at the elbow right there. For anyone at home wondering if that hurts. Okay, up on screen. Ferris, Gibbs, Harwood, Tanti, Waters, Metcalf, Baldwin, Evans, Watson, Melross is back out there. Great to see.
69. That was Lockie Latimer, one of the Latimer boys that's gone down the main straight. I hope he is okay. Nice pass from Brett Metcalf up the inside of Todd Waters there. So there's so many things happening here in this early stage. It's such a perfect time to make a pass while people are trying to settle themselves in.
So this is the interesting part right now for the championship. It's all on Aaron Tanti to try and salvage a few more points. Of course, he does have himself a comfortable buffer at the moment, but with the way he's sitting at the moment, that lead is going to be eaten into quite substantially with the way Ferris is out at the lead. Let's take a look at the 100% hole shot. Of course, it was the 111 machine of Dean Ferris.
Aaron Tanti sits back there behind Hamish Harwood, the New Zealander, who is in there throwing all kinds of chaos into the mix from the points chase point of view for the CDA Yamaha Monster Energy team. But it's Kirk Gibbs who has taken it upon himself to be the one to try to challenge Ferris here. Makes it very hard for your competitors when you get the kind of starts that Dean Ferris has been getting.
We saw such a good moto number 1 again for Metcalf, very strong, and he wanted to get a good start and be up there. Well, right now, he sits in behind Tanti. Can he be someone that unintentionally throws it up there and helps out Ferris? He's there to race for himself, no one else, but that may be beneficial for Ferris if he can get past Tanti. But right now, Tanti is all over the back wheel of Harwood.
That was a nice couple of corners there. Harwood is not the kind of rider that you get past super easily. So certainly Tanti needs to pick his spot on the track that he's going to go for it. He lost a bit of time there in that back corner, and he needs to find a part of the track, kind of like Jesse Dobson had his own part of the track. When you've got that happening, sometimes it makes it a heck of a lot easier to make your way up towards that first place.
Great shot here, shows the straightening out of that little kink turn of the guys that went nice and tight in the corner before, able to straighten out the line, coming down over that jump as they dive into this. Nice line up the inside there for Tanti, and you can just see the amount of sun in the eyes of the riders as they head towards those jumps through these. Metcalf is looking strong too.
He is charging hard. Yeah. He sees the back of Aaron Tanti and he wants to set off after him.
Oh, Tanti
Oh, wow, what a
tries to go
line.
around the outside. I saw that from the corner before. He set up a square up, and I thought it was going to put him down the inside, but in fact put him to the outside. Tanti, I think he has the bit between his teeth at the moment. He has the line options.
He's got this part of the track where he's super comfortable. He's trying to set something up. He needs to be very careful that he doesn't come together with Harwood. Harwood's someone that's got nothing to lose here. He's just here on an individual race. Potentially will race next weekend at Coolum, but he's got nothing to lose here from an individual point of view. He's got nothing to gain from a Yamaha perspective. He doesn't need to be helping Tanti out points-wise, that's for sure.
So we have only 9 minutes left in this sprint moto of the split moto number 2. They will do a short race now, come back for a short break and go out and do it again. It is an Olympic scoring over these 2 races before they are actually assigned their points in the championship. So very important that they do 2 solid races right now, but because they are short races, sprinting is everything at the moment, and the one guy that usually is good at that is Tanti.
Oh, mistake from Harwood. Little, almost high side there, and he's going to slot himself back on the track and in between Tanti and Brett Metcalf. So, which should give Tanti just that little bit of breathing space to be able to shift his focus forward onto Gibbs. So, let's face it, if he's got any chance of trying to get the overall points for this second moto, the back-to-back, he needs to at least get himself up into second place. Another mistake from Harwood there.
Minutes left, so they're going to have 2 more laps to complete after this one by the looks of it.
Yeah, that's
Tanti's close. He knows it's go time.
And it was a great line at the bottom of that G-out hill. He's found a rut that works really good, and he's also got a good line here on the inside. He's got a couple of little alternative lines. You know, you cannot pass when you're right behind, obviously, and if the rider in front makes a little bit of a mistake, you run into the back of them. Oh, off the side of the track for Tanti. All of that good work he did, and had to ride through some slop as well. With 1 minute 45 left on the clock and how close these 3 are in lap times, that could have been disastrous for Tanti.
Watch to the outside. Tanti here just bounces off to the edge.
Had a hook at the end of that rut.
And almost off. And then he thought he was out of it and then back into the slop. There could have been a hidden rut there that he didn't see, easily taking him down. But he did well to stay upright. So that almost secures our positions to the finish, except Gibbs hasn't got the memo just yet as he continues to put the pressure up on our race leader. Ferris looking very comfortable still, but Gibbs wanting to rebound after not such a great result in the first race. Didn't get the greatest of starts, but who do you think may be out there now thinking, hey, we've got another race, we need to conserve some energy, only a short break in between. Are these guys going to just push it hard to the end?
Yeah, look, I honestly think Ferris is just trying to control the race. It's the type of track at the moment, you push too hard, you make a mistake, you go down. He doesn't need to try to win by 10 seconds. He understands this is just a sprint race. If you win by 1 meter, it doesn't matter. Let's just keep it clean. Let's keep it on 2 wheels. But I do want to make comment. I tell you what, I really enjoy watching Gibbsy ride when he's at his best. He lugs the taller gear, he picks good lines, he looks smooth. He's just really nice to watch when he's riding well.
Beautiful line through there for Ferris. Nice and settled the whole way around.
The bike's working well.
Yeah, bouncing off that very small berm.
Oh, it's back on.
Back on.
It is back on.
Tanti has not given it up just yet. You got to keep that pressure on. Time expired right now, so they will be receiving the last lap board the next time they come through. Riders 41 and 81. 3 position penalties for jumping under yellow. That one's interesting because that was if that's what we saw a moment ago, that was a tough one. Riding into the sun, looking up that hill, it would have been very hard to see the yellow, and there might have been other riders in that one. So anyway, we don't know the specifics of that particular penalty.
Well, a couple of corners here that haven't really strung together quite the way Tanti would have liked, has popped him ever so slightly off the back of Kirk Gibbs when he'd made such a great charge. But Gibbs still, look at how close he is to Dean Ferris.
He is right there. Well, this could be a final lap charge right now. What does Ferris do? Does he respond, put himself on the edge for this. He needs to get the at least points as he can in this particular race, being the Olympic scoring.
Yeah, and another mistake from Tandy's dropped him off the back. So really it comes down to Kurt Gibbs. Does he have it in him to try to make some kind of a pass here on this last half a lap in part one of our back-to-backs?
We haven't seen too much of the other riders, just looking at the lap board, or sorry, the leaderboard, Thor leaderboard on the left. It still is Harwood. Oh, mistake there by Gibbs, and now that's put him back into the clutches of Tanty, so this isn't done by any means.
And this is a part of the track. Watch Tanty cut back to the right-hand side. He's got a brilliant line down here as he launches through this tabletop, and he will wedge it all the way down and try to set something up. He'll start from the outside and cut back across, but he finds Kirk Gibbs in the exact same spot, all the way around the outside, trying to create or manufacture some kind of a passing move in these dying stages. This part here with these next few corners is not Tanty's part of the track. Gibbsy is, unfortunately for Tanty, a little bit stronger through this right-hander here.
Well, Tanty is putting in, almost bouncing off the side of the track once again, right onto the back wheel. They almost kiss tyres as they go up and over this. Tanty looking for something as they head down towards the very final turn. It's only one run they can choose right here. He looks to the outside, but he's not going to do it. And it is going to be Ferris that will take the win in this one. Kirk Gibbs across in second place. Tanty, of course, in third, and a great ride by Hamish Harwood back there in fourth.
Wow, 1, 2, 3 in formation. Ferris, Gibbs, Tanty. You literally could throw a blanket over those three. And what a race that was. Well, we've got part one of the back-to-back done and dusted and out of the way. The 10 minutes has ticked over, and we are about to go here. Drop of the gate, second part of the back-to-back. Another great jump from Dean Ferris, but he's got company up the inside. His teammate Wilson Todd, so close to a crash with Dean Ferris going down. Was that Melross?
Melross, I think. No, it is
Kyle Webster, perhaps. That was a big Honda. It was a big Honda logo on the front of that jersey. Yes,
Webster. Wow, that was a big moment, wasn't it, for Ferris coming into that first turn. Wilson Todd was the beneficiary of all of this. Kirk Gibbs there in second place, Ferris third. We did see a bit further back. There is Tanty. He has some work ahead of him. So at the moment, yes, sorry, Lee, to jump in, but Gibbs is looking pretty right now. We saw how fast he was in the first part of this. He's in very good position to get the overall for the second moto right now, but he does have a lot of pressure with Wilson Todd there as well.
So finally, we start to see this game plan of Honda to throwing Wilson Todd and Kyle Webster. Well, Webster went down in turn number one, unfortunately, but Wilson Todd is up there, and he is well and truly in the mix. Unfortunately for Dean Ferris, he's ahead of him at the moment, which doesn't quite go into Honda's game plan, but we're only in the very early stages here of the second part of the back-to-back that we see with MX1 Moto 2, brought to you by Thor.
A lot of pressure being applied to Tanty from Todd Waters right there as we look at the 100% whole shot, and it is, of course, to Wilson Todd. It was almost going to be Dean Ferris, but that huge moment going into that turn really took it away from him. It's all up to Tanty right now to start making these moves, and also Ferris to make his way to the front to really capitalise on this position that they're in at the moment.
Well, that was super sketchy there from Aaron Tanty as he went up those ruts and the takeoff ramp. His wheels weren't settled. So easy for one wheel to go in one rut and the other, and that's an instant crash if that happens.
Now Melross there right in front of Waters, so he is still up there. I did just speak to him between the motos. Banged up, very sore, wrist, ribs, nothing broken. Obviously he's back on track, but certainly feeling the pain after that crash. He said simply, wrong place, wrong time, Moto 1. Unfortunate for him, he's been riding so well. He's trying to make amends for it now.
Well, Gibbs continues to lead, 1.6 seconds. Mistake from Brett Metcalf allows Aaron Tanty to come through.
The pressure is all that Tanty needs to do. Just keep that pressure on all the riders in front of him. It's really up to Ferris right now, who has Tanty behind him. Ferris needs to make these passes and try and move forwards. But I'll tell you what, Gibbs was so strong in that first part of this race. They're going to be pushed to catch up to him. Impressed with Wilson Todd. This is his first real proper showing, I think, on the 450. He hasn't had the starts. Right now it's his opportunity. Oh, Ferris! Ferris!
Oh, that was so close, and he's had a couple of moments now. Now, we know we've seen Ferris again when he had a couple of moments, and it unsettled him. He really had some issues there. Now, I think what needs to happen is Aaron Tanti needs to pounce during these moments when something like this happens.
That was a good save. It just started from the first one. The front wheel got kicked a little bit high. And look at this, straight around into in front of Wilson Todd. So, is this the Honda tactics working here, trying to separate some points? We can only wait and see how this one plays out, but Ferris certainly has a lot of work ahead of him to try and get up into the lead to really maximise.
Okay, so Aaron Tanti now has the job ahead of him. This was the jump before, then a lot more settled that time. It looked a lot smoother. He really does need to try to dispose of Wilson Todd as quickly as he can.
I tell you what, you asked the question a second ago about how Ferris, will he get unsettled after that? We've seen it previous. He is launched straight onto the back wheel of Gibbs right now.
He's on a mission.
Right now, amazing.
As they come onto the main straight, they'll come past the pit area one more time. They will receive their pit boards from their mechanics. Aaron Tanti is starting to ease his way up onto the back of Wilson Todd now. He really does need to make that move and try to latch on to the back. A mistake there from Tanti, back wheel over the top of that line.
Yeah, these riders certainly feeling the pressure of the track at the moment with the way it's breaking apart. Ferris there dropped back just a little bit, but still with the intention of running to the lead as they go through that turn and up and over this step up once again. Only 8.5 minutes left in this one.
Right, everything looking nice up at the head of the pack. Kirk Gibbs on the factory KTM. He's got company with Dean Ferris right behind him, and his lines are starting to come together.
Gibbs also having troubles right there with those. There must be so many ruts leading into the face of that jump.
You can visually see there Dean Ferris using that peak for all of its advantage that it had to try to keep that sun out of his eyes.
Oh, Webster, unfortunately, the bottom screen right there, just off to the side. It was a return to racing this weekend. Probably not the what he was hoping for, but certainly any race time on the track is going to be beneficial for him. So, unfortunately for him going down in the first turn, he's just decided to sit it down. Look at Tanti, big move up the inside. Can he make it stick here? He really put a lot of pressure on to make it happen. That back end dancing all over the place, but unable to make the pass just yet.
This has got to be exceptionally frustrating for Aaron Tanti, but this is the whole purpose of having him out there in this class.
Yeah, to try and separate a few points for Ferris in his championship battle over CDR Yamaha. The plan trying to get a few extra points, and right now Wilson Todd doing an exceptional job at that. Aaron Tanti working so hard to try and make this pass, putting a lot of pressure on himself.
Nice line up the inside for Tanti. Not quite close enough though. Wilson Todd was carrying the momentum to come from the outside back in.
They've closed back in onto the back of Ferris just a little bit on that last lap. At the same time, Metcalf is being dragged along as well.
Big kick sideways for Wilson Todd's Honda CRF 450 there as Tanti mounts another challenge. Ferris, as you mentioned, he has dropped off the pace of Gibbs.
Metcalf back there in 5th place, Waters in 6th, Melross in 7th, Dylan Wood great in 8th place. But let's head down to Kate.
Yeah, I've got Craig Dacker from CDR Yamaha Monster Energy. Craig, tell us about your thoughts on Honda's moves to block Tanti.
How's Aaron Tanti going?
Sorry, tell us your thoughts on Honda's moves to block Aaron Tanti.
Oh, yeah. I think I know what you mean. I would have done the same thing, and that's what you do to try and stack the field. I just hope they don't get dirty. I don't suspect they will. But it's look, it's been pretty good all day. Aaron's had the wood on him, and sorry, I'm just getting someone talking to my headset. So far we're pretty happy.
Yeah. Okay. Great. Thanks, Craig.
Thank you.
Well, yeah, it's obviously tense times, of course, for Craig Darker's team manager, team principal. He's watching this all unfold in front of him. He's trying to wrap up a championship here. Tanti sets up a move around the outside, and I think it's got him. It's going to end him up on the inside here for the next corner. Although Wilson Todd does have some incredible corner speed around the outside. Will that be enough to set up a pass here back on the inside? No, it's not. And Tanti consolidates that position and now will set off after Dean Ferris, who looks a little out of sorts at the moment.
Yeah, these last couple of laps have not been the cleanest for Ferris. He has dropped back off the back of Gibbs and fallen into the clutches of these two here. And I think Ferris is the very strong rider at the moment, as we see The fastest lap time, of course, was Dean Ferris earlier. As we take a look at this Honda replay, set up beautifully around the outside here by Tanti, really pushes it in hard, which sets him up to the inside in this next turn.
Yes, very well executed line to make the pass on Wilson Todd. As we saw the lap prior, he tried the opposite way, tried the inside, didn't work, so he went for this one. Already started to edge up onto the back of Dean Ferris here. Tanti's part of the track where he's exceptionally strong. He cuts back to the left here a little bit tighter than most riders, but no, Dean Ferris took the exact same line this time through. He seems to have consolidated that gap a little bit ever so slightly, coming onto the straight one more time.
It's certainly hard to pick, isn't it? The way these two are going back and forward, opening up the gap, closing up on them. It's so hard to say how it's going to be as you look to the provisional points. Of course, as they sit at this current point in time, Arantenti 296 over 272, Dean Ferris. That's a pretty good day for Arantenti at the moment, I think. It's not many points lost at all.
No, I don't think it's quite as good as what he would have hoped for, but it's certainly not disastrous, that's for sure. But he needs to be careful. Just a couple of corners that have gone a little bit away for him, and he finds Wilson Todd all over the back of him, who, let me promise you, is not going to need 2 invitations to throw that Honda up the inside.
Well, this might allow Ferris to ride a bit more of his own race as well and try to move forwards rather than be on the defence. As we see the riders bouncing through, that looks nasty there. Those couple of jumps, Waters on screen at the moment, just making his way past one of the lapped riders and trying to chase down Metcalf just there in front of him.
So you're right, Danny, this track is just treacherous at the moment. A combination of some hard packed sections, it's kicking up a little bit of dust, but these straight line ruts at the bottom of the hills are really quite nasty. If you get one wheel in one and one wheel in the other, it can put you on the deck before you know what happened. Kirk Gibbs at the head of the pack is looking very smooth, but it looks like we're seeing another one of these late race charges from Dean Ferris.
1 minute 40 to go, so 2 laps left in this race as they complete this particular lap for these riders. Gibbs looks so smooth at the moment. He is really controlling it. He doesn't need to do too much more than he is at the moment. Just continue that pace, but you're right, he cannot slacken off too much because Ferris is on a charge. Now that that pressure has been released from the rider behind him, he's able to concentrate forwards. He is certainly moving forwards towards that first place.
So I believe if my calculations are correct, we could quite possibly still have 3 more laps to go. So it'll be interesting to see how this plays out. Gibbsy, if he continues how he is going at the moment, the 1 second gap is starting to diminish every second as we see.
Down into Larocco lead turn right here for Gibbs. A little bit high on the front wheel. Ferris, slight slide out coming up there. But still maintaining that 1.6 seconds gap right behind him. Certainly within a striking distance between these two.
Only a handful of bike lengths between first and second place. Kirk Gibbs looking very nice on the KTM. As we saw from that drone shot, Dean Ferris coming ever so close to a lapped rider there in that corner. Some of these lines lead into each other, and quite often the lapped riders don't realise that they're about to come really close to one of these leaders. Brent Metcalf all over the back of Wilson Todd.
Yeah, Metcalf's looking strong at the moment. He actually landed pretty hard out of the double back there and it almost pulled him up. I don't think he was expecting it on the landing, so he is looking very strong. He's trying to make a pass here on Wilson Todd. Tanti certainly has dropped back a little bit now. Maybe he's consolidated and said, that's it. We're going to close this one out, and this one lose 5 points in the championship on the day, but hey, it's still a decent result going into the last round. As they drop down into the Maxxis left-hander before they step up, this claim to a couple of riders today. You can just see how gnarly those ruts are leading into it, and again, would be so blind with the shadows that are there, the sun that's directly in your eyes. I guess you just got to pick one and hope for the best.
These are some of the deepest ruts that we've seen all year. It's great to see, and it's certainly sorting these boys out for sure. You make one wrong choice and you'll get relegated a position, that's for sure.
Into the right-hander here. The boys are on their last lap now. See the, it looks like a roll-off, flapping in the breeze there for Tanti. As our race leader here, Kirk Gibbs on the factory KTM, drops down into this right turn for the final time today. And he has a comfortable gap over second place in Ferris. 1.8 seconds over the last splits.
Yeah, it really has all been about Kirk Gibbs this last race. So going 2-1 in the back-to-backs, he will get first place here overall for this second moto. But that's not going to affect overall Dean Ferris's charge for this overall on the day.
Yeah, Dean, as they said at the moment, will still be awarded, I think, the overall for the day. He has had some great results. And as I said, he should pick up around about 5 points in the championship. Over Tanti, it looks like he will finish second overall on the day. Just at my calculations anyway. Oh, that bike. Wow, that was a bit of a tense moment through the run for the final lap. The last thing you want is the bike twitching around like that and taking you out of your comfort zone, but he has looked so solid in this one.
What a way to finish the race. The factory KTM rider, he's still got company with Dean Ferris not too far back, but with just a couple of corners to go, the number 5 KTM machine did well in the first of the back-to-backs, kept the pressure on and finished second. But in this one, he is right where he needs to be in that first place. He basically led from wire to wire. 15 minutes plus a lap, tips it into that final turn, comes through to receive the checkered flag, and he will be absolutely stoked with that. Little bit of a chest pump there, and he'll be over the moon.
Someone is very happy indeed as we hear that bike revving one rider down just on that final turn. Oh, that's Waters.
Oh, Todd Waters.
Oh, man, all that hard work on the final turn. He'd be so bummed with that.
And a bit of a helmet shake there. He'll be devastated.
Frustrated with how it was as we look at the Thor Mx1 results. Moto number 2, Kirk Gibbs in this part takes the win. Dean Ferris, Aaron Tanti, Wilson, Todd, Brett Metcalf are your top 5.
Hayden Melross, Todd Waters, Hamish Harwood, and we see Dylan Wood, a good ride there in 9th place, and Joel Evans rounding out the top 10.
Yeah, great result there for Dylan Wood, the first of our privateers to come through, or Hamish Harwood, sorry, probably is one of our privateers as well, so a great result from all of these, and what a day it has been for these spectators to witness motocross here at QMP that has really turned it on as we head down to Cape with our winners.
And in P1, Kirk Gibbs on the KTM, congratulations, your first win.
Yeah, it's a bit of weight off the shoulders. Feel like I've been riding really well, just haven't been able to show it, haven't been up the front, and haven't put myself in the right position. So, you know, especially that first race was terrible. I felt so bad, and just really wanted to try and execute that one, and got 2 ripper starts, and pays off.
Yeah, well done.
Thank you.
Well, what a day's racing we've seen here at QMP for the penultimate round of the Penrite Oils ProMX Championship, brought to you by AMX Superstores.